Japan, a country known for its safety and discipline, was shaken by a crime so disturbing that it sent shockwaves around the world. In 2017, authorities uncovered a chilling case where a man used Twitter to lure his victims, leading to one of the most horrifying serial murder cases in Japan's history. This is the story of Takahiro Shiraishi, the man now known as the Twitter killer. From August to October 2017, he lured at least 9 people in total, 8 women and 1 man, into his apartment under the pretense of offering them a place where they could die peacefully. Once they arrived, he manipulated, overpowered, and ultimately killed them. What happened inside that small apartment remains one of the most terrifying mysteries of this case. The case came to light when the brother of a missing woman decided to take matters into his own hands. His sister had been communicating with someone online, and her last known interaction was with Shiraishi. Working with the police, he traced the messages back to an apartment in Zama. What they found inside was beyond comprehension. It was the digital trail that would ultimately bring him to justice. A series of Twitter messages, carefully pieced together, led investigators straight to his door. The police acted swiftly, arresting the suspect and uncovering the gruesome truth behind his carefully crafted. As the suspect was brought in for questioning, the grim reality of his crimes became clear. The calmness with which he confessed, offering no remorse, sent shockwaves through the nation. And in the end, the authorities knew there could be no escape for the man who had lured so many to their death. In a chilling case that shocked the nation, a Japanese man now faces the gallows after pleading guilty to the brutal murders of 9 individuals. Known as the Twitter killer, he used the social media platform to lure his victims, promising them an end to their suffering. But the police weren't far behind. Upon entering the apartment, investigators discovered dismembered human remains stored in coolers and toolboxes. The air was thick with the stench of death. Shiraishi had admitted to using saws to dispose of the bodies, keeping skulls as twisted mementos of his crimes. When questioned, he confessed immediately, showing no remorse. As the suspect was brought in for questioning, the grim reality of his crimes became clear. The calmness with which he confessed, offering no remorse, sent shockwaves through the nation. And in the end, the authorities knew there could be no escape for the man who had lured so many to their death. The breakthrough came when the police discovered the suspect's online history. The chilling nature of his actions, his cold indifference, his calculated lees became increasingly apparent. But it was his confession that finally cracked the case wide open. The suspect's chilling words revealed the twisted logic behind his crimes. To him, the act of killing was an act of mercy, an absurd justification that only made the horror of his actions more unsettling. But for the police, it was clear this was no mercy. This was murder. Behind each of the 9 lives lost was a story of pain, vulnerability, and a desperate search for escape. The Twitter killer preyed upon individuals who had already suffered unimaginable hardship, luring them with promises of an end to their torment. Victim 1. A young woman, no older than 20, with a gentle smile. She had been battling depression for years, often posting about her struggles online. One evening, she came across the Twitter account of a man who seemed to offer the help she so desperately sought. Her message to him was simple: "I can't take it anymore." It would be her last. Victim 2. A man in his 30s, looking worn and tired. A former office worker who had lost his job, his family, and his sense of purpose. His online activity became increasingly erratic, and he shared with followers how he longed for an escape. The killer's message promised just that peace. He too believed he had found a savior. Victim 3. A teenage girl, eyes filled with sorrow. She had suffered years of abuse, both physical and emotional, from those closest to her. Twitter was her only outlet, her only place where she could speak without fear of judgment. When she reached out to the killer, it was because she saw someone who seemed to understand her pain. She would never see another day. Victim 4. A man in his mid-20s, eyes dull with despair. His battle with addiction had consumed him for years, and his mental health deteriorated with each passing day. The killer's promise of release sounded like the answer he had been waiting for. It was the final decision of his life. Victim 5. A woman in her late 30s, sitting in front of her computer screen, tears staining her cheeks. She was a mother, separated from her children due to a messy divorce. Her loneliness drove her to online forums, searching for someone to talk to. The killer was all too willing to be that someone. She was taken before she had a chance to see the truth. Victim 6 to 9. A series of victims, each from different walks of life, but all sharing one thing in common: pain. From those fighting self-harm to individuals facing financial ruin, each victim fell prey to the killer's devious tactics. He exploited their darkest thoughts and fears, promising peace, but delivering only death. The tragedy of these 9 lives lies not just in their deaths, but in the fact that each of them believed, at their lowest points, that they had found someone who cared. The killer's manipulation was as much psychological as it was physical, making his crimes even more monstrous. His trial became one of Japan's most followed legal cases. Shiraishi showed little regret for his actions, even stating that he killed because he wanted to. He pleaded guilty to all charges, and the court sentenced him to death. Japan, a nation that still enforces capital punishment, ensured that justice would be served. The lives he stole were not just numbers in a case file, they were real people, each with a future that was violently taken away. For the families left behind, the pain would never fade. But justice cannot bring back those lost. 9 innocent lives were taken, people who sought comfort, but instead met a horrific fate. Their families now live with an unfillable void, and Japan continues to reflect on the dangers lurking in the corners of the internet. The story of the Twitter killer serves as a grim warning. In an age where social media can be both a lifeline and a trap, we must stay vigilant. Evil can sometimes wear the face of kindness. Stay safe, stay aware, and remember in line, not everyone is who they claim to be.